right, you guys, podcast time.
Chew. It's quieter.
Fucking podcasting right now.
Chew quieter.
And now, to the podcast studio.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Chew Quieter. I am Gabe Mercado. We have Armando Verdugo, and our special guest today is Kate Atkinson. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. First and foremost, how's your health?
Good. Really good right now. Really good.
So no complications. Everything, energy is up and everything.
Yeah, everything's great. It's so complicated. I have been lucky in my life to have periods of remission from whatever is going on, and I seem to have achieved that currently. So everything's really good.
Awesome.
I may or may not have this for a year or 2 years or less than that. I have no idea. So just enjoy it while I've got it.
And they don't know what it is?
Yeah, there is a diagnosis. I mean, if you care. So they do know what it is. I was diagnosed back in like 2014. It's called hypereosinophilic syndrome.
Okay.
My body makes too much of a particular kind of white blood cell. And that white blood cell causes organ damage if it gets out of control. So they have to use various treatments to try to keep that level down. Prior to recent years, the only kind of treatments were like kind of low dose chemotherapy type things. But treatments have gotten a lot better over the years. But it's still incredibly difficult to treat. It's not like, okay, we're just going to give you this medicine and you're going to be fine. It's just a lot more variable than that. And it just kind of comes and goes and has bad times and good times.
It almost sounds like a form of lupus.
It's autoimmune like. It falls somewhere between being kind of like a blood cancer or being kind of like an autoimmune disease, but it's neither. So it's just kind of got its own weird issues.
Mm. Well, I'm glad your health right now is good. And I hope that means that you've had some time to take the Jeep out and get it dirty. And
not as much as I would like to. So, yeah, unfortunately not.
For those not familiar with you, break down your Jeep a little bit. Tell us about it.
So, well, there's multiple, but I guess
the most infamous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one that I think everybody is most familiar with is my green two-door, which is a 2012 JK that we ended up stretching to 111 inches. It's all custom suspension on 16-inch ORIs. 60s front and rear in terms of axles, 40-inch Maxxis Treps, stickies, that we all did here in the home garage. So that's basically it.
So I don't know if you've heard too many of our episodes, but whenever we bring up female wheelers, it's not in a good light, but there's always one or two female wheelers that we point out that are the badasses, and you're one of them.
No, well, I appreciate that. But yes, I have listened, so I've always really appreciated the kind words that you guys have had.
Yeah, you and I met, I think it was around 2012.
No, it would have been, I thought it was
No,
until
actually it was
2017.
14.
It was JP Trex.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So South Dakota.
Yeah. I'm thinking of, I think the reason why I thought further back is because we wheeled in Colorado once.
That was afterwards. That was right afterwards.
That was afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't associate that time with before or after.
Yeah.
But you were at your second home in Colorado. You went to CU.
Yep.
And I feel sorry for you for having to put up with the hippies out in Boulder.
It was a special time in my life.
Was it really as bad back then in Boulder with the hippies, or was that a very big exaggeration?
I don't like it. It was certainly part of it then. From what I understand, Boulder is nothing like how or like to what it is today isn't what it was maybe
Yeah.
20 plus years ago now. Um, like I would probably categorize like my college roommate who was like a Boulder native. Maybe she wasn't like a hippie, but I think she kind of there were some things that fit into like the stereotypical Boulder person for her. But I mean, there were always like the street performers on Pearl Street and stuff, but
Mhm.
I think it was so overwhelmed by the college atmosphere that I didn't really there was nothing that seemed like crazy out of the ordinary to me in terms of like hippies. And that's even coming from like super metropolitan Houston where I was from. Like it wasn't like culture shock, I guess, is
Mhm.
how I'd put it.
So when I lived in Denver, I moved there in 2000. And I didn't visit Boulder until probably 2002 for the
Mhm.
first time. And for me, it was a culture shock. I was just like, where am I? This is so different. It's very much, you drive in, as you know, on 36, you drive in and
Mhm.
right away, there's the campus.
Yeah.
And then you go a little further and then you get into these little houses that are really nice. And then you climb up to the hill and you're like, wow, these are some big houses.
Yeah.
And if you keep going down 36, you start to get into a whole nother section of Colorado that's a little bit north of Boulder.
Mhm.
And then you get into some of the wheeling trails out that way, specifically Left Hand Canyon, which is
Mhm.
no longer there, sad face. So to me, it was just like, I was not ready for it. It was really weird. It was my first time experiencing a college town, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I smelled the pot. I was like,
Oh, these are my
this is
people.
going down. Yeah.
I need to live
very-
here. I need to
like-
live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't have any other perspective. Like, that's where I went to college. So to me, like, I guess I would think that all colleges are that way if if I were to guess, but I don't really know. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I just thought all of that was normal.
But you
Yeah,
did
so
go
the-
from Houston, so
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was like in the suburbs of Houston, though. I mean, it was pretty like,
okay.
Yeah. So the first time I experienced a college campus, I was UC Irvine in Southern California. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. The Los Angeles Rams were still in Los Angeles, and their practice facility was at UC Irvine. And I didn't tell my parents. I just happened to find out they were there, and I just happened to find the bus route to take me there. And as an 11-year-old, I just jumped the bus and went. So like 5, 6 o'clock rolls around and I'm nowhere to be found. My parents get home. They're like, where is he? They're freaking out. And I come strolling up the street and my dad's outside talking to a neighbor, like, have you seen him type of situation? And here I come. And he's like, where the hell were you? I was like, oh, I went to see the Rams practice. He's like, in Irvine? I was like, yeah. How the hell did you get there? Like, I took the bus. How did you know how to take the bus? Where'd you get money for the bus? So there was like 20 questions.
Sold weed.
It was 20 questions. And then it became, you're in trouble. And he swatted me so damn
oh
hard.
man.
Yeah, I was in big trouble. So that was my first time on a college campus. But UC Irvine back then, it was way out there in Orange County to the point where on the bus we're driving by orange groves, huge fields of orange groves. Wasn't how it is now with just sprawling houses everywhere. That's how old I am. So, and then the second campus that I went to was UCLA. And then the third one was just driving to USC. And USC is right in the middle of the ghetto. Like they have 15-foot brick walls surrounding the entire campus. And that's for a good reason because it's right off Exposition. It's a bad place. I don't know why people choose to go there, but they do. especially with UCLA just down the freeway, which is near the beach, pretty much. So seeing those three campuses and then driving to CU, it was just so different. Like the whole environment is so different. But anyways, we're not here to talk about college campuses. Yeah, so the first time we met was in South Dakota.
Yep.
It was at the JP Tracks event. And then for the next few years, we saw each other at different events.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were on vacation one year in Colorado, and we just happened to invite you out to go do some wheeling. And I think my friend Leland was with us, right? And that's how you guys met.
Yes, that's how we met.
And you found out you both went to CU, I think, at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Small world type situation.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't even have his Jeep anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it's so many people don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people leave this hobby.
Yeah. It's weird is the at the rate people leave it, it's faster these days, and I think it's just because people get into it because they're like, oh, cool, neat, Jeeps and ducks.
Yeah.
And then their lease runs out. And then they're gone too. And they go join, buy a Corvette, and they're wearing white New Balance sneakers and cut off jeans.
You just call me old?
But for the most part, guys that purchased their Jeeps and girls around 2007 to 2010 probably had it for a good 15 years.
Yeah.
And these are the people that have just aged and thought, my back can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
And it might be time to either sell it or just not wheel so much.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's been interesting to see. It's been interesting to see how many people like really stick in it because they enjoy the hobby and like really enjoyed doing it versus the people that are in it for the fad thing. And then it's like you said, I think it's just like really it'll be a short tenure.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a bunch of people out there with shirts in their closet that say, I'm the black Jeep of the family. That whole pun. And they haven't worn it for the last 5 years.
Yep.
So it's always the Jeep thing until it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the Jeep thing, did we forget to talk about our sponsor today?
We have, yes. I'm sorry. I wanted to talk with Kate so quick and get into all of her information. I did forget. Liftitforless.com for all your one-stop, one-click and shopping needs for your Jeep, truck, or Bronco. They have a bunch of great companies that they work with, Savvy Off-Road, Rigid Industries, Rockcrawler Suspension. Go to liftitforless.com and tell them we sent you. And Armando, of course, rub-1.com, rub-1.com.
.com. I know it's not .com.
Yeah, not .com. Not anymore.
I should buy rub-com.xxx. I need to buy that next.
So anyway, go to that website and get some studs for your Jeep side by side or truck. It'll make it shiny. I just washed my truck again this weekend. Looks pretty.
So did you notice that your wash lasted a little longer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Whitney just got her kit, and she washed Ryan's Raptor about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And she said they hadn't washed it again until they came back from the beach. And they only washed it because they went to the beach and it got scummy from the beach. But she said it was so easy to clean and it lasted way longer than any wash that they've done. So the idea is long lasting, clean, that makes it easy for you to go do touch-ups in your washes.
Yeah, so I washed it on Saturday, and then the very next day, someone around our neighborhood was burning brush. So it was just covered with ash, and it's still covered with ash right now because they're not done burning. So it's covered with ash and pollen.
Well, that's
which
good.
is, yeah,
That's
it's
good.
that time of year.
I want to see you hose it off and dry it and see what it looks like again.
You want to see me hose it off?
Yeah.
But the puns just never end.
the puns never end when you rub one. Now you know why I chose that name.
Yeah. You had to.
I had to. There was nothing else I could actually do out there to do this with any of this product. There was so many other good names. I was like, nope, it's got to be something a little more. Got to hit that edge.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to Kate. That's why she's here. So what are you up to these days?
Oh gosh, working.
Just work?
Work and unfortunately not off-roading as much as I would like. I've been enjoying being healthy, and so I've been exercising a lot. I have a goal to run a half marathon next year.
Nice.
So I don't know, just doing a whole bunch of different things.
I know you have the dog calendar coming up.
Yes.
So talk about that.
Oh gosh, I think this is its eighth year of me doing it. Um, so yeah, back in like 2017, I got this idea that I would do a Jeep dog calendar and then have people send in photos and then sell the calendars, and then whatever money was made off of that, I would donate it to a charity. Um, so it had kind of, it had a pretty good start, but it's been pretty crazy. Last year, the calendars sold out in less than 24 hours, which was always
Wow.
like a really huge goal for me to be able to say that, just like that it was that successful that they flew off the shelves and then ended up doing a restock so that people could get more. But people just seem to really love it. They love to see their dogs in a calendar, um and I think people like that it goes to charity as well. So, and it does actually go to charity, and not unlike some other things that we've that I know you've talked about. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a labor of love. It's a lot of work, but every year, like, people start sending in the photos, and it just makes me so happy to see everybody's dogs. And by the time I finish making the calendar, I know all of their names, and I'm like, oh, that's this guy, and like I can look at it all year round, and I know the story behind it. Um, and we always get people that send in their dogs that have recently passed away too, and they're like, oh, my dog died this year, but
Mm.
I really wanted him to be in there, and like that always makes me super happy too, that it's like something for them to remember too.
I would much rather see dogs on a calendar than fake tits.
Yeah.
One of those.
What about
do they
real
call 'em?
tits?
Well, or real tits, or what do they call the other one for the backside? The
BBL.
BBL. What's the stand
Fake
for?
booty?
Brazilian
Butt lift.
Brazilian butt
The
lift.
butt lift.
Oh, that's such a ridiculous look. Looks like your ass got stung by 1,000 bees.
Make me look like one of those rap stars' girlfriends.
Oh my God, Becky. Look at Armando's butt. It is so big.
It's like out there.
But yeah, that's a great idea though, with putting some dogs on a calendar. I think everyone is a dog person, even if they're a cat person.
Yeah.
But not everyone is a cat person. So this makes
Nobody
total
likes
sense.
cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be my dog, and I just like okay. So we've been dog shopping, and I've been looking for seriously. I've been looking for either Staffords or Pitties, and so now my algorithm with either TikTok or Facebook is just people posting these shorts of their pit bulls or their staffies. And I'm just stuck looking at these dogs interact with bigger dogs or these little puppies doing puppy things. And it's just so adorable.
Yeah.
It's just hard not to watch just because I'm a dog person. Love dogs. Even if a dog that's just barking at me for no reason. It's like, I know why you're barking at me. Chill out. I'm not going to hurt you.
Because you smell like frijoles.
Yes. This guy smells like meat sweats.
And bourbon. And Mexican beer.
Yeah. So where can they get your calendar?
On my website, but I just started collecting photos, so sorry. Now you're gonna get to enjoy hearing my dogs bark too. Um, but yeah, I will finish it probably around like mid-November or so, and then I order the calendars, and then they're for sale on my website.
Okay, nice. One thing that I always quite wanted to ask you, and it was just something I never questioned. At one point, you were doing some work with Fusion 4x4, right?
Yes.
To what extent? Were you marketing person? Were you engineer? What were you doing there?
So, I've known Dan from Fusion for a really long time, probably about 11 years now. Um, and he started Fusion while I knew him in, sorry about the dogs. In 2016 or so, I offered to help run the social media just because I had gotten pretty savvy at that point with my own social media. So I was like, hey, you could probably use some help. Is there something I could do to help you? So I ended up taking over the social media. And then after that, it kind of just morphed from there. Everything from helping set up products on the website, and so learning how to do some like website design, and then I don't know, and then kind of just like whatever he needed help with. Just tried to be helpful, mainly because he was my friend, and I was just trying to help someone be successful, and it was something that I knew he believed in, so I wanted to see that success for him. Um,
Yeah.
in in more recent years, I became a lot more involved. I started answering the phones at Fusion, responding to emails as Fusion, um, and doing a lot more than that. But I've kind of my roles always fluctuated based on my availability and how much I can do, because I do have a full-time job. So, you know, it's kind of ebbed and flowed.
And are you still involved?
I am still involved. Yeah. I do
Okay.
still run the social media. So if anybody ever messages on social media, it's always me.
So anyone that sends a message, hey, will you sponsor me? What do you say?
Most of those people, I direct them to send us an email. Like it's one of those things, like I'm never going to tell somebody like,
I sent him to Curry.
yes,
Here's Casey Curry's home phone number.
yeah, it's one of those things, I'm never going to tell somebody no just over a social media thing. Like if you're really serious and you want to like put a pitch out there and tell me all the reasons why you think that it would be a good fit, then I'm always open to listening to it. But the social media message part is just like so difficult. Like I don't know who thinks that they get anywhere with that. Like that they're just like, hey, man, I'm sure looking for some axles. Wish you could throw those my way. It's like,
What's more annoying, the person that's looking for a sponsorship and doesn't have the qualifications for it, or the person that says, I'm doing a theme build and it would be great if you would donate something for this cause because it's a theme build. And then you find out it's for like firefighter or the blue line or something like that.
honestly, I don't feel like we really see that very much. So I'm trying to even think of anything that would be equivalent to it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that question.
Has the request of sponsorships actually slowed down?
I think it has, yeah. And I don't really know like what has changed with that. But yeah, I don't feel like we see that quite as much as we used to. There was certainly a period where it was like rampant. And maybe it was
Mhm.
just there was just something going on industry wise where everybody felt like that they could approach all these companies and ask for things. And then I think that's settled down a little bit. So I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. What's your take on this age of influencers?
Um, Man, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on the whole influencer thing. You got to
I
be
know
more
you do.
specific. Um, I don't know. I mean, influencer marketing absolutely serves a purpose, and I think that it can be really great. And I think that unfortunately it has been done really poorly. And I don't spend a lot of time looking outside of industries beyond ours. Like I just don't. Um, it's not like I'm looking to see how influencers are doing things like in the beauty industry or the cooking or who knows what else. But specific to ours, I just felt like I saw so much being done poorly for so long that I lost a lot of faith in what I thought influencers could even do. But I do understand the marketing value of it. Um, so
When it comes to a guy being an influencer and then just being a guy, and then a girl that is just flaunting her flauntabilities, has the same request. Who do you gravitate to honor that sponsorship or partnership?
yeah, I mean. For me personally, I mean, I think you guys already know like where my feelings lie in terms of what I think makes sense. But the it's really going to come down to like what somebody can truly do for a brand. For me and what I'm looking for, I'm probably going to pick the guy who's got like the good resume that I think is going to be a good representative of the brand. But I can conceptualize and understand why a company picks a woman who, may look a certain way, or act a certain way online and maybe has 10 times the amount of followers that that guy has. And and really you're just trying to get your product in front of eyes. And so from that perspective, I can understand why some people choose to do that. It may not be what I choose, but I can understand the rationality behind that.
When most of those followers of the female influencer is people that might not even be in the Jeep industry,
Oh, for
or
sure.
people that
Yeah.
might own a Subaru or might just have a bus pass.
Yeah.
It's kind of swayed.
Yeah.
It's kind of swayed, right? Just because it's not the target audience that you're looking for,
Right.
even though they have a large following.
Hmm.
How do you combat that?
I don't know that there is any way to. I think you can be pretty limited by what social media is willing to tell you. Like you can't, even with really good insight tools, you can't figure out like whether or not those people are in your target market. Um, so I don't know that there's a lot that you can do to stop that. You know,
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to last the way that it's going right now.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are a little bit tired with the influencer movement, a little bit tired with the same old, even on YouTube.
Hmm.
Now it's gone to the point where influencers are featured on other influencer videos, and
Yeah.
there's a Warren run, and there's 10 YouTubers on that same Warren run, and all of a sudden you have 10 YouTubers with the exact same content from the exact same run. It starts to water down a lot, and it suddenly becomes stale.
Yeah.
Even with the amount of wheelers that we have, or I shouldn't say wheelers, the amount of people that own off-road vehicles right now, I would say it's easily 70% of them are parking lot wheelers or parking lot Jeepers.
Yeah.
So that might be another reason why a lot of these companies have stopped doing the sponsorship stuff, is because the people that are looking for the sponsorship are just looking to, put lipstick on a pig and not take the pig to the pig pen and, utilize those parts for what they're intended for.
Yeah. Yeah, and the YouTuber thing, like I can say that I think that companies saw a lot of value in that, in investing in YouTubers and going in that direction, especially because YouTube videos tend to have a little bit more permanence than like a social media post. Those videos stick around for a long time, they continue to gain traction for a long time, they get referenced for a long time. Whereas like somebody posting to Facebook and Instagram, like that just it's a fleeting thing. Get posted and then it'll get buried, in X number of days or weeks or months. Um, but you know it i'm not I'm not trying to call out any YouTubers at all, but a lot of them are in it for the business, so they're going to make decisions that are financially advantageous to them, and that doesn't mean that they necessarily have any true belief in the product. I mean, and that's true for social media influencers too, but those people, their business model and their job is to showcase these products maybe just for one video and then move on to the next product. And I don't think that really does a lot for the brand either in the long run. So sure, maybe you get more eyes, in the same way that I discussed before, um but yeah, are those people fundamentally, I've always been of the belief that the people that are going to do the best at representing your brand are the people that bought it with their own money, because that was the product that they wanted. And if they're happy with it, they're always going to tell all their friends that this was like the best purchase they ever made. And a lot of those other people are just doing it because they're paying the bills.
Yeah. That's there's a lot of validity there, just because I was in that boat. The first few sponsors that I had were companies that I actually bought product from. Rock Crawler, back in the day, Crawler Concepts, Maxxis Tires. I had Maxxis Tires before they were a sponsor. And then when they became a sponsor, obviously I kept riding that tire. So yeah, I think it has changed a bit where now people are getting the part for free. They're doing that review. They're moving on. And it's just like anything in social media. The channel changes every minute. And it's not like it used to be where the channel changes every other month.
Yeah.
So that rotation is so quick now. The cycle is just way too fast for anything to get traction.
Yeah.
Even with some of these brands doing their own social media now, they're flipping the page every day. And I'm not totally sure that's a good idea, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Are you asking me or Armando?
Oh, both of you, actually, because Armando's kind of in the same boat.
Well, I dealt with this for years, and there was it was very selective in what we approached. I also didn't have much of a budget for anything, so it was really hard to say, okay, where am I going to get the best bang for my buck out of this with a minimal marketing budget? And it just made more sense to find 2 or 3 people that I would use that would be considered on the influencer level. And then the rest were all just people that were building, people that I knew I kept seeing at events, at here, at there, people that had a cool build that was going to get eyes. So following the same ideal of not just, just send it to anyone. And that's what they did before I started. They'd be like, who's this guy? And why is this guy getting 30% off products? And then apparently they set him up so he could buy at one time, but they didn't shut him off. So he just kept buying stuff and getting stuff like way cheaper than he should. I was like, this guy's shut off. There's all these like weird one-off things where racers were probably the worst, because I came out and I was like, okay, can you send me pictures of the cars, send me pictures of products, whatever. Crickets. But 2 months before Hammers, they're emailing in, hey, I need parts for this and this and this. I'm racing King of the Hammers. Can you send it right away? I'm like, the fuck were you 6 months ago when I asked for actually something to validate what you're doing and bring some value back to the to the company? I have an ROI to actually look after here, and your needs aren't meeting that. So racer program cut off. I was like, no, we're not doing any racer program. And then we kept, again, 2 or 3 racers that we had any relationship with that actually did the marketing. And I just went through like, who are we sending products to? Okay, this guy posts, this guy posts, this guy posts. That's it. We're done. Everyone else, sorry. Here's a 10% coupon for next time you need to buy.
That's an interesting avenue that I didn't really think about is the racing scene.
Yeah, so like especially when I started with Artec, most of the products were for buggies and hardcore builds, link kits and trusses, and most people weren't doing that to regular Jeeps. Even when I met them before I even started working with them, my Jeep was their booth vehicle at EJS, King of the Hammers, and a couple other events. It was on their website because I had the first rear truss. I had the front truss kit and everything on my Jeep. But people just weren't trusting axles. And then the JK platform brought weak axles and cheap brackets and a lot of failures of people wheeling them and breaking them. So there was definitely a need for that product to come out and to evolve, and that changed kind of the aspect of what Artec was at the time. But when I started, it was all just buggies and ship boxes and racers.
Mm-hmm. So now, with the racing scene kind of dying out a little bit, I don't want to say dying out. The coverage is kind of dying out, right? You think there's still?
It's not the coverage. It's there's changes. I mean, things got sold. Things have changed management. Management has decided that we don't want to take what we just bought. So now I don't know if Dave's taking it back, what portion he's taking back. He's lost some races that they hold, but they're like, we're just not going to do it. So I think basically Dave got King of the Hammers back, and I don't know if Mid America is still doing Crandy. I have no idea on who's running any of that side of things, but when you go from a couple different entities, because back when I started, Ultra 4 was King of the Hammers plus 6-8 races throughout the country per year. Dirt Riot was active. Big Rich was doing Dirt Riot, and We Rock, which was 2 events that Big and Shelly were doing, with Joss working the actual track, and then a few other clowns in the background doing support stuff. And that was your 3 kind of race themes. Even back then we had the Stadium Super Truck Tour that was going everywhere. Then you had the other one, Lucas Oil Off-Road, which was not even really buggies. So you had all these different organizations that were running events, and then all of a sudden Lours is gone. So there's some other modified Lucas Racing that's Pro 2, Pro 4, maybe some buggy styles, but it's not a full lineup like it used to be. It's not as big as it was. They're not coming to as many locations. Ultra 4 is kind of in shambles right now. Dirt Riot is, I believe Dirt Riot's gone. We Rock is still around. So, I mean, that's in 10 years you've had this mix up of that. I mean, to have the longevity and a race series is going to have, look at the longevity of NASCAR or Formula E.
But even those racing series have had a lot of different changes and title changes and everything else. So maybe it's just part of the progression. Maybe it's part of the progression with off road.
Well, even just motorsports in general it changes. Drag racing, NHRA has been racing forever, but tracks have been closed, so you lose venues, you lose whatever, and that changes. It changes your profitability, which changes your market strategy, which changes your business model. So you either shrink, fold, or sell off pieces, or try to bring another organization in to co-brand, and then hopefully the two ideas don't butt heads and just split off and just dissolve completely. So there's all kinds of different things that are in play here, and a lot of it's even property, like liability, insurance, all that. Just imagine that. Like what is the insurance bill for, like, Crandon, when they're in the rocks, when they're like going 50 miles per hour through boulders the size of Volkswagens through there, like, and then these guys are rolling, there's some fires happen out there, all that happened. Like, what is the liability out there? How is an insurance agent even going out there and saying, how the fuck would let this happen?
Yeah. Well, a good example of that would be a Diesel getting poison ivy because he didn't see the poison ivy when he was recovering his vehicle the very next day. And then didn't realize he was touching poison ivy, and then had to go pee. And ended up getting poison ivy on his willy.
Well, good thing you can't feel that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean
it's not exactly the same thing, but I have to point that out because of Diesel.
So I have a question. Going back to the influencer thing and then your experience with working with racers, did you feel like is sponsoring the racers provided you with ROI? Like, do you feel that that's sold product?
Some could. It's the ones that actually paid a photographer. They actually send you good photos that you can use for your marketing.
Yeah.
So my biggest win was when we were closing out the entire racing program. And Andrew McLaughlin was with us for a long time, as well as Jeremy Hammer, Fly and I, both guys local in Phoenix area. They both own off-road shops, both race Ultra 4, Dirt Riot, We Rock, and a number of other series around Nora, Baja, and all that. But when we decided to cut it off, I had a long conversation with Andrew, and Andrew was like, come on, just like, come on. We do so much with the business on the other side of the race that it makes sense for us to keep this in. And I proposed it. I got all kinds of pushback because, oh, you're just choosing one of your buddies. I'm like, he's not, I mean, yeah, he's my friend and he's an owner, but I only really know him because I work here and I've been trying to grow the business through him. So to say that he's my buddy, yes, it's true, but it's also, I know that there was value. That next freaking King of the Hammers, he takes that leap down, and the whole top of his car has the branding on it, and it's still shown every day. I'm like, that was the best move I probably could have ever made, because that video still shows up, and I'm like, you guys are still getting freaking branding from that move. and it shows up I see it on TV commercials for some of the other sponsors. I see it on TV commercials for Ultra 4. It's, you have to find the right one.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to kiss 100 frogs to find the prince. Maybe 1,000 frogs, maybe 1,000,000 frogs. I don't know what the number is, but you can actually go out there and find someone that is reputable and wants to be part of your brand and can create a long-term relationship that is giving you ROI, giving you revenue generation, giving you content back. And it is a two-way street. I mean, you're getting a product not for a 30-second video you're going to do or a 2-minute video you're going to do. You're getting it for a relationship that we're building, and we're going to build something to go. And that's the way I always kind of prefaced how I went after people and what the relationships did. I'm going to bring up someone that not everyone likes, but did really well, is Nick Ashby at Rockstar Garage. I knew Nick when I was at ADD. We did stuff with him at ADD. Him and I had become friends when I went to RTech. He even let me come in and say, just send me parts. I won't charge you the normal rate that I'm charging everyone else. And we worked out a deal where we did more, and I went out to events with him. I did other stuff with them, and we created content to grow that relationship. And it got to where it was. And as soon as I left, he was gone, because there was no one there to continue to garnish that relationship, to mature that relationship, to continue that relationship. And I'm not going to say that I told him to go anywhere. I never told anyone you got to leave. I just, when I'm gone, you choose what you want to do. But that was a very good relationship when he went and started building Gridlock, which is probably the most notable thing that they've done. They've done a lot of builds here and there throughout the years, but Gridlock has kind of been like their key that's driven so much success for the company. And I was out there. I mean, we did videos. I would go to California, and I'd be at the shop for the whole day, going over the builds, going over what we're going to do, how we're going to leverage things, doing funny videos. I think there was a funny unboxing video that we did, and he threw a bunch of stuff in there, and he just pranked me completely. He's like, "Oh, Armando must have sent his freaking empty bag of freaking Doritos and some hot sauce and this and that." I was like, all right. But it was something that created a lot of, at the time, it was that short-term haha thing, but it lasted a couple months, and everyone just gave me crap. Oh, are you gonna send me your lunch in my box? I'm like, so you can find an influencer, or a partner is a better term for that. Yes, their term is influencer, but you have to find a brand partner.
Yeah.
Out of it. Overall, that's all it is. Finding someone that you're going to be able to trust to uphold your brand image, the message of your brand, and not everyone's going to like them, not everyone's going to follow them, but you know that there's an avenue that you can push with it, and you can use it, and the content always comes back. I got way more content out of Rockstar Garage than I've gotten from any other outlet ever. Like terabytes of information. Like here's on the drive. Go get what you need out of it. I'm like, I would have spent 3 weeks just looking through files and folders. So again, just find the right person, the right entity that matches with what you want out of it, and have the conversation. And that's the thing, is everyone says, okay, I want to have it. Here's the rules, and sign this contract. Well, the contract kind of says stuff, but you don't. It's faceless. It's mindless. It's soulless. It's a piece of paper. You have to have that relationship. You actually have to go out there and put the time in yourself too. Your only way you're going to get the ROI is if you put the time in yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get your 15 seconds, and then they're gone. They're on to the next one.
Yeah, this is all stuff that I've been thinking about a lot lately, because, as I've mentioned, I'm going to start filming for Kingdom Crawl again, and I'm going to need some sponsors to help pay for a lot of the production. So I don't want to approach people in the same way that I used to, because I used to have a Jeep. Some of their parts would go onto my Jeep, and that's how a lot of it would be featured. But now that I'm not going to have that, and especially the last year of Kingdom Crawl didn't have it, it was more of trying to find people to be in the show that had these parts or the products.
Yeah, seriously, I thought about that the other day. Like your best bet, since you don't have a Jeep, is find a sponsor and say, okay, you're going to be the vehicle that I'm in. You'll get the most media. You get the most coverage for this episode. And you can come every other one, but this one you'll be front and center. Mm-hmm. and there'll be a little more media of you there. And then on top of that, we'll take a side shoot. We'll get video, image, whatever you want to do for content beforehand or after. Hopefully after, to show durability of a product, especially a hardcore product that needs to be durable enough to survive what you just did, and then go back and be real through what you did, the scrapes, the crunches, the whatever, the carnage that happened behind him, and he walks out scot-free. And that's a way to approach that on your side. Is you don't have to build a rig, you don't have to get any parts. You're paying for my time. Come in, lead the trail. I'm going to ride with you. You'll basically be the center of media. You'll be what's centered around that video, and just, it doesn't have to be, it can be blunt, but it can be very open. You're open and honest. This episode is brought to you by Company X.
Yeah.
And other sponsors below it.
Yeah. Maybe I can talk to JP and say, hey, let me borrow that yellow Jeep with the Hemi. Let me tear it up a little bit. I doubt he would go for that. Maybe Jake.
the TJ. Well, yeah, you can go do an episode in Utah and go get Disaster. It's still at Will's house in Utah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's got a new cage and a new winch and everything. So you're good.
And Will's a good driver too, so
and it's nice and clean. He's rubbing. Jenna's rubbing one out tomorrow. But he also has a 392 out there too, so you have options over in Utah.
Yeah, I think one of the places that I do want to film this season is going to be in Utah, in Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane. Yeah. I've never even been there. Apparently, I know you're pronouncing it wrong.
It's Hurricane.
Come on, noob.
It's H-E-R.
correctly.
It's Herkin. Hurricane. Hurricane.
Yeah. So it's definitely a place that I've never been to either. And I don't want to wait for. I've never been. No.
Oh, okay.
Every year I keep saying I want to go to Trail Hero, and every year that it happens, my work calendar is just slammed.
Whatever happens, just get slammed. Yeah.
You
got to go. It's
time of year.
It's a fun place to go once.
Like Vegas.
Probably a little better than Vegas.
Yeah, because you're not blowing wads of cash.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure you're not. No, I used to do every year. I did Winter 4x4. Then we do here and there. We do a trip out there. We did one of the hero events that shall remain nameless out there one year. Trail Hero a couple years. So I've been out there probably 10 times. Mm-hmm. It's a fun place, but it's like, I don't know. To me, I want to see different now. I think I'm past like that. Even Moab, there's a few trails in Moab that I've never done that I'd like to go out there and do. And that would probably be it. Not do any of the trails I've already done. Like, fuck Top of the World. Stupid useless trail.
God, stupid trail. I hate that trail. It's a fun trail to do once, and then that's it.
And then I end up having to do it every year. Cane Creek is a lot more fun of a trail, but still another, just a shit trail.
Yeah. And then I guess Moab Rim would be on that list too. Then
Moab Rim is fun. It's quick and up, and you're not sitting there for a day and a half waiting for traffic.
If you go to the top and down, it's fine. But if you do the whole section, the whole trail system that's on top, then it gets long in the tooth.
Up and down. Yeah, but no, just we've only gone up to the top to the lookout and turn back around and come down.
Yeah.
But there's a few trails. There's a one that I heard of the last time I was out there, Coyote Canyon.
Coyote Canyon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a scenic drive. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old, but the elevated experience when we went to Washington, when we went through Colorado, we took that road from. I mean, we met in Moab. Didn't really go into town. We met in Moab, and then we took dirt into Colorado, all through into to Ouray, out to Silverton, and a few other cities, and went up, and I think one of the passes we couldn't do. A couple of the Black Bear Pass we couldn't do was closed. It was snow on there. I think Imogene was closed for snow. We did a couple others, but that was a great time. It wasn't just like I didn't get my ass handed to me all day. We wheeled for a good portion of the day and then actually had a campfire and hung out and relaxed and actually enjoyed the day. And I don't know, maybe I've become an underlander. I don't know.
What about you, Kate? Do you think that's your next progression is overlanding?
No, I don't think so. Which is actually funny because we built a sleeping platform in the back of the JKU, so that we could camp out of it. Basically, it was one of those things that because of how everything changed with COVID and like you couldn't, especially in like 2020, right? Like you couldn't go stay in hotels, or at least it was like really difficult, and so that ended up transitioning us to camping anytime we wanted to go wheeling. And then just realized that I liked it a whole lot. And then that just kind of evolved with having like the two Jeeps and being able to camp out of it. Yeah, maybe part of it is getting old too, but there's some part of me that hates going and getting my ass kicked all day long on a trail too. And
Yeah.
it's just like every part of me hurts. And um, and like I love the adrenaline part of it. Like I love chasing after steep climbs and stuff, but at some point you also just start like weighing the whole, like, is this really worth it? Like, what am I really doing?
Yeah.
And and I'm way over the like, it's not like I feel like I need to look cool on the internet either. So it's like, what am I doing it for? Like, it's one thing if I'm doing it for my enjoyment, but I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want to go like have a good time. Um, so this past summer, we took a trip up to New Hampshire and just kind of drove around with the JKU, left the stretched JK craziness at home, but just like traveled around, went to like some covered bridges, went and wheeled at Jericho State Park, and it was all just chill and like it was so nice. Like that was just way better than this idea of needing to go like slam your axles into like every gigantic rock you can find and stress out about like what part you broke on that trip. So I don't want to feel like I'm getting weak in my old age, but it's just like like I just like I don't need it. Like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Maybe a bucket list trail. I would be like, oh, I want to do that, but I think other than the Rubicon, which I still haven't done in all the years. I still haven't done the Rubicon. But the Rubicon doesn't have to be a kick your ass type of thing. Fordyce is, but Rubicon doesn't have to be a kick your ass type of thing. So I would love to go do Rubicon, but I don't think I need to do it in a full on crawler, buggy, whatever. I like here and kind of what the Scout was for me is just so I can go out and like release some tension. I'm 20 minutes from a trail. I can trail it out there, go run for a couple hours with probably Jeremy Clanton with his buggy, go out for 2-3 hours, come back, have lunch, have a couple beers, put it back in the garage and be done and not be gone for 4 days, not get my ass handed to me. Come back. I'm tired. Oh, we hit that trail. We hit that obstacle. All right, turn back around, take the drive back, stop at the river bottom, have a sandwich, have a beer, go home. The
other aspect of that is
me.
people probably also get tired of spending the money fixing stuff. And it all of a sudden becomes a stupid hobby because they're on their fifth set of ball joints, or second set of axles because they keep breaking them. Or if you're Jake, your 10th steering box.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe that has a little bit to do with it too.
Yeah, definitely. So the urban wheelers hit curbs and they're like, oh, I broke a wheel, broke one of my 22-inch Arturo tires that died. I don't have to buy another one, so they sell it.
Yeah.
You get the guys that go, oh, I'm gonna go rock crawl. They put on 40s and Dana 30, snap an axle, and then like, oh, this is stupid, and then that was gone. So you get a lot of that. You can believe you want to do something, but once you get into it and actually have to pay for it and repay for it and pay for it again and then repay for it again, you decide that this is for me or fuck this.
Right.
Yeah. I would love to be in a situation where you are, where it's like, oh, I can just go wheel a trail for half a day and come home. And that's part of the aspect of it too. Like I was mentioning earlier, like life is just crazy busy. I mean, we're all adults. Like who, like your free time disappeared. Like when you left the age of like 18, but if for anyone on the East Coast, for the most part, like you have to be really intentional about going wheeling. Everything is far away, and a weekend of wheeling for me, when you consider like gas and park fees, because it's not free here, you're talking about a $500 weekend, like at a minimum.
Yeah, and then
and maybe
and then
you
if you're
only
gonna
do
lodge,
1 day. Yeah. Oh yeah. And so then if you're going to stay in a hotel,
if you need a hotel, you need a hotel, all your
Oh, yeah.
meals out,
Yeah.
gas for the trip out there, the gas you're going to use in the park.
hmm
So it can easily be $750 to $1,000 for a weekend.
Yep.
And that's not breaking anything.
Right, exactly. That means you get home in one piece, and you don't, and that's not counting like just general wear and tear on your truck, your tow rig, whatever else that you're doing. So
Yeah, pop a $700 tire.
yeah. Oh, right. And if this were a few years ago and you can't even get spares, like
Yeah.
it's
even hard now on some of the bigger ones. They're
yeah,
out of
it's
stock,
a
and
tough situation.
People looking for tires. It is costly, and one of the reasons why the industry struggles, especially like right now, when the economy is as trying as it is right now, with everything going up. I mean, it's $750 for a tire. Plus, maybe
It depends
Going
on the
bigger?
tire. Like if
Yeah.
if something happens to one of my sticky treps, those are over $1,000 right now, I think.
Yeah. So
It's just like, well, perhaps I'll just stay home.
yeah. So, but you have to think about that. How that is that affects the industry that we're in, because
yeah.
we're in an industry of dispensable. This industry is dispensable income. You don't need your Jeep to go to work every day. Most people don't. Some people have daily drivers, but a project and a crazy wheeler, you're probably not driving that to work every day. You probably have your whatever you tow with, which you could use for work every day. So you already have a second car. So you already stretch way wider, and then you got to prep for this, whatever you need to replace from the last stupid trip you took that costs a lot of money to go spend more money to go break more shit for another expensive weekend. So with everything where it's at, and we talked about your living situation where you live, and if you had to, if they decided to sell your house and you had to move and afford today's prices, that would severely change how you look at things and how you deal with things.
Absolutely.
We had this conversation last week with Austin about these new recruits to the police department. Like, these guys are getting paid nothing. They have to have a bachelor's degree to get paid nothing. They have to pay a student loan, likely, because they probably didn't get free education unless they came out of the military and used GI Bill. But most of them probably have a student loan. And then how are you going to save for a house in these days? An overinflated $550,000 plus house? I don't think there's a lot of places where you can find a house under $300,000 that's a decent house on the West Coast. There's probably more areas on the East Coast, but again, your wage is going to be different. Cost of living is going to be different, but it's tough. It's really tough for us for people to continue to hold these vehicles and do what we've wanted to do and have been doing for years, and to continue to pay for it.
Yeah.
It was the best. We used to go to Moab, stop at Gilberto's, get a $5 breakfast burrito, and go on a trail. $2 gallon gas. It wasn't that big of a deal. The last time I was in Moab, Gilberto's breakfast burrito was $11 with the fee and everything. It was $12 for a breakfast. That's 2.5 times what it was before.
That's crazy.
Gas was $4.29 in Moab when I was out there.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And then we're not even talking about the Hotel Moab. Hotel Moab
Right.
was minimum. The shittiest hotel I could find was like $240. A decent hotel was $300, $350.
They used to be $89 a night.
It used to be $75, $80, $85. The higher end were $100, $109.99, $139.99.
Right.
But you have to account for all of this, which it's craziness. You can't afford to do it.
To bring this conversation full circle back to the influencer thing, like right now, I can say in this economy, I'm not hating on the people that are posting like driveway pics and pics of their Jeeps at the mall. It's like, you know what? Like I get, yeah, this is the situation. Like if we're really being honest, like I get that people aren't affording going wheeling and that they're just not doing it as much and that they're afraid to break things. And like, one of the things that I hate about social media and the influencer marketing thing is the amount of pressure that it puts on people. And that's your own internal struggle. But like to feel like the keeping up with the Joneses thing. And like we're in a situation where like financially, economically, all those things, like I don't know how anybody is keeping up with anything right now. Like it's impossible.
It's impossible. I mean, I look at my situation. I bought a house dirt cheap in an area that's way out in the middle of nowhere. And everyone's like, oh yeah, your house. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful house. Oh yeah, it's so lucky. I'm like, well, no, this is my 4th house that we've purchased. We've stepped up every time. We've cashed in. We've done it, but we've had that opportunity. My kids don't have that opportunity now. Like even in my house, if I was to be in my kids' shoes, there's no way that I could afford there's no way I can afford my house right now. Houses in my neighborhood are selling for stupid money. And I'm like, there's no way I could actually like say, okay, let's go 5% down if that was possible. And then look at what the mortgage prices are, look at the mortgage rates and go, how much a month? Crazy. It's craziness, like how that is, and it just changes the dynamic. It's why you see more companies struggling in the off road. It's bad enough at the retail side. Every other turn is this new chain is shuttering 100 stores, 1,000 stores. They're shuttering. They're gone completely. So it's tough. It's tough to be in and have fun and have a dispensable income hobby that costs as much as this does.
Yeah.
Even golf has gotten expensive. I mean, last time I went to go
the freaking patio. Come on.
No, I'm serious. Last time I went golfing was earlier this year before I hurt my shoulder, and a round at the municipal was $65. It used to be $45.
Yeah. It goes everything because they have to pay someone to either move carts, wash carts, do whatever. They have to compete now with McDonald's down the street that's now paying $17 an hour. So those guys that were paying $10, $11 an hour now have to get paid $18 an hour. The guy that was making $18 an hour at a little senior level now has to make $25. The guy that was making 25 now has to make 35. The guy that's making 30 is now have to make 40. It goes all the way up. It's not just, oh, we're just going to let fast food workers get this money. It goes all the way up the chain, and it makes everything expensive. And add transportation costs.
What hobby do you think these days is not overly expensive?
Rubbing one out.
I was going to say knitting, but
No,
knitting.
That
is taking off. Actually,
have you bought yarn lately? Holy
I haven't.
crap!
So honestly, I
we used to
say.
get that little bale of yarn. It used to be like 99 cents. Now they're like $12.
No, knitting has actually taken off. There's a lot more people doing that now.
I know. Well, there you go with influencer stuff, right? Like now I see so many people like posting little crochet things and knitting stuff on social media. So, whatever you're into.
If I see Russell Brand start doing it, then it's a problem.
Yeah,
but you mentioned the stress that the influencers have, needing to keep up an image or to make their sponsors happy. I think that's why my gray came in so fast in the last 4 years of Kingdom Crawl, because I felt the stress levels. There was people in my ear. Hey, when are you putting this out? I had partners that I had to also make happy and pay them. I had to try to find and keep the sponsors for the following year. I was looking at pictures, and Facebook does this stupid fucking thing now where it's like then and now in your history. And there was a picture of me with my beard was just perfectly jet black. Like I hadn't aged a fucking day. And I look at myself now, I'm like, holy shit, there's so much gray. That stress, I'm almost positive that stress is what created this gray hair so quickly.
It happens. It's this industry. It'll do it to you. It just popped up a picture when I worked at Rigid. Perfectly black beard. Mm-hmm. Now look at me.
Yep.
90%
I'm not stressed out. I'm not stressed out yet.
All right, one more question for you, Kate, before we go. Put your engineer hat on and tell me, where do you think there's a deficiency in the development of off-road products?
Oh gosh, it's kind of funny. I almost thought you were going to ask me a question like this. I think the deficiency is in innovation. And I don't know why this just like struck me today as I was sitting around thinking about it. It's just that there is so much that is just derivative. And we've seen that for a long time. A new brand, and I feel like Armando can relate to this. A new brand starts up and they're making, brackets and trusses and things. And I'm not speaking badly about any and saying any of that, but I think everybody and shoot, I can say it from like a Fusion perspective, but like name how many companies have steering products, right? It's just, there was of course somebody who like created the first steering product, and they're like Tyrod and Draglink, and then everybody else created one too because they could and they wanted their little spot in the market. But I would love to see more innovation. And there are some small companies out there that are doing it, and I love to see it. But I would just love to see more of that. Just people really like going after something completely different. Bring something new to market that's not just like a repeat or a rebrand of somebody else. So I don't know.
Can you name two innovative products that have come out in the last year that are not just a rewash of someone else's product?
So I want to preface this by saying that, again, my view is pretty limited. So if these are things that are in fact derivative, I maybe don't know. But one company that comes to mind, or I guess maybe a couple, I think like American Adventure Lab and Apex Design, I think. They're small products. They're little things. Like, we're not talking about someone reinventing the wheel, but just like little things that hose reels that that makes life simpler, that mounts to like roll bars on your Jeep, like that's helpful. And then I saw one that was like an all aluminum tailgate kit that had like the place for the arb plus the reel kit and everything. I don't know. I get that those are kind of like small things in the grand scheme of things, but at least somebody is out there thinking like, what can I make that's going to be like helpful to somebody else that isn't just like, you know, the same thing that everybody else is doing. I know that I've seen Apex do some kind of funny things with like sway bar links and I don't know, some of those seem a little bit weird, but I don't know enough about them, but I have seen people using them. But
I think that's where a lot of this might go in the next couple of years is the quote unquote widgets.
mm-hmm.
You know, small things that, like you mentioned, that can solve a small problem.
Yeah. And
Like,
they're affordable.
Yeah.
Relatively.
It's yeah, no, well, I mean, it's always been that under $100 product that someone could carry. So anything that you can put in a box or a bag that someone can carry around an event and not be overburdensome is a good seller. And the TikTok era of buy this little widget and it costs $5.99 or $10.99 or $20.99. Those products, boom, 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 can fly off the shelves easily. But there's a financial crust where if it goes beyond that, it's harder to justify an impulse buy. It's why selectively at the checkout counter there are those items there, because they know there's a high amount of traffic of people that will impulse buy them because they're cheap.
Yeah, I do like my Snickers bar.
There's you never see $1,000 TV at that checkout. No, you see $1 candy bar. You see well, now they're $2, but
Or Tic
think
Tacs.
about that. It's a little thing. Chewing some gum. Oh yeah, so for your dirty mouth when you ride home. So,
that's funny.
But definitely, yeah, that the niche for these little carry things will definitely become probably, like I said, the next trend will be simple, easy widgets. Yeah. I think more of the combo will become a lot more prevalent, where you have a couple different things that kind of get combined into one unit that creates an easier application for both items to be used together, especially if they cohabitate well together in their use and their need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Kate, I think we're going to end it here, and I really appreciate you coming on, talking with us. It's good to know that your health is back to being tip top.
Thanks. Yeah.
I wish you luck on the marathon.
Thank you.
I wish you luck with the doggy calendar. What's the website for the calendar?
forlowforlife.com.
Okay. So everyone, that's where you're going to go to get the cute pictures of the doggies.
Yep.
Put one up in your office, put one up in your garage, gift one. It's all for a good cause. So go there and purchase your calendar. And Seth, if you're watching, get home safe, buddy.
I will let him know.
Awesome. Armando, what's the website?
rub1.com with a dash in the middle between the rub.
With the dash in the middle. And don't forget to visit liftedforless.com for all your Jeep, truck, and Bronco needs. Again, Kate, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And everyone, thanks for watching and thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.